in those early years, a lot of our friends were very fascinated to see us so disciplined and so focused on something, because a lot of our friends also being like the wild types that, had left their culture and left their family to pursue like some spiritual direction in life. At some point, people were like, I want to learn too. What are you doing? Like, how do you do that? And what's the words to this? And so that's what inspired us to form the group. And my idea there was that, okay, let's do it. Let's form a Qawwali group, because we were just learning it. But I was like, let's form a Qawwali group as an experiment and we'll have one for 3 months, because all these people wanted to be part of it. So we'll have these 10 people, these 10 friends, and we'll learn all this music together, and we'll learn these 4 kalams in 3 months, and then put on a sama for all of our friends. Not that we knew very much at that time, but we knew enough that people were like, oh wow, they're really studying this and doing their best to sing it. And the fact that we're trying all these different sarigams and singing in like Farsi and Punjabi too, like wow, they're really going for it. So there was a fascination, especially because we were like young, like ragamuffin types. It was like, who are these people? So especially when we performed, we offered our first Hazri in Pakistan during the Urs of Baba Farid. There was like tens of thousands of people, and it's broadcasted on national television. We didn't know all that. We were just like invited to sing during the Urs, and we had our whole group there. So people were really fascinated. Like this whole group of white dervish looking kawals. There was definitely a fascination and excitement of like, what's this gonna sound like? It was like, and we all had our like bakara topis and our sherwanis, like, and lungis. We were dressing like, the ustadon ka ustads back then. I like that. We all like the look of, Ustad Fatih Ali Khan, Mubarak Ali Khan, that look. The first Qawwali we did was Man Kunto Mola. There's the big listeners in the front that are always like, are these Qawwals gonna impress me kind of attitude. Sometimes they don't even move because they're just making a point that I've seen this so many times. It's like, I'm gonna be in hibernation here until something actually moves my heart. There might be 1 million people listening or like 10,000 people at the Urs, but the Qawwals are really singing for like Baba Sahab, and then like 4 like Buzurgs in the front that are like really hard to crack. And so I remember we did Man Kunto Mola, and that's, it's a big deal to sing Man Kunto Mola because it's such a dignified and respected Qawwali. And I remember that moment of all those Buzurgs like jumping up and giving us dad and nazar, and so it was really, really encouraging. And that year we also played at Urs Data Sahab, and we played in Urs Nizamuddin Aulia, so we had a lot of big exposure of being able to bring this music. I remember one of our Qawwalis at Baba Sahab was like the highest selling VCD in Pakistan. And we didn't know about it, but then suddenly it was like a bit competitive. It was like, okay, you guys really want to do Qawwali? In Pakistan, it's very competitive during the Urs, like who gets to play at what time. And then how many people are like having to pay off the peer to like the Gadi Nashin to get a spot at the Pandal, and who's like really selected. So it's very deep culture and very complex. It's a bit of like a Darbari mafia going on. We played in China, like where you play in a place where people, it's not part of their native culture, but they're so moved by it. That's always a really special experience, because you go to such a different place, like we're playing in Siberia or something, and you don't expect people can relate to it, and you see how this Qawwali that's been brought from the Khwajigan has such an effect on anyone's heart. So those moments are very precious in concert. People like, hearing Lala Meri Patar Kyo Bala Julila and Mast Mast, what people like, and people always want to hear Piya Gara Aya and all the fast cranking numbers in concert.